Welcome back. Depending on who you ask, talks on Capitol Hill to fund the Department of Homeland Security are making progress or falling apart. Today, Senate Majority Leader John Thune telling reporters Republicans have sent their, quote, last and final response to Democrats, saying he believes negotiations are making progress despite accusing Democrats of moving the goalposts on negotiations earlier today.
Republicans have bent over backward to negotiate with Democrats. And now Democrats need to get serious about funding the Department of Homeland Security. If Democrats cared about TSA officers, if they cared about Coast Guard employees, if they cared about the vital work of the Department of Homeland Security, then they would be getting serious about closing a deal, not ceaselessly offering up the same unchanging list of demands like a broken record or a particularly nightmarish version of Groundhog Day.
Democratic leadership insists they've had the same demands on ICE reform from the beginning. And a Democratic source tells NBC News their offer included pieces the White House already agreed to. But two Republican sources say it also included provisions the White House had rejected. Now, this standoff comes as lawmakers are set to leave for a 2-week recess tomorrow. Leader Thune hasn't ruled out canceling it, as the most visible impact of the shutdown plays out at the nation's airports, with long lines and delays caused by TSA officers calling out as they continue to work without pay. The acting head of TSA says these are the highest wait times in the agency's history. President Trump, meanwhile, is once again urging his party to terminate the filibuster, something that does not have support from Senate Republicans, as he continues to blame Democrats for the partial shutdown.
We're now on day 41 of the disgraceful Democrat shutdown of Mark Wayne's department. Congratulations. We came into a department that's shut down by the radical Democrats. But Democrats are really punishing the American people, so they need to end the shutdown immediately, or we'll have to take some very drastic measures.
Joining me now from Capitol Hill is NBC's Melanie Zanona. Mel, thanks for being here. So recess is imminent. What is the mood on Capitol Hill? Is it possible they could get a deal before tomorrow?
Well, Kristen, I will say the vibes have improved slightly, only slightly, over the last few hours. I don't want to overstate the optimism here, but Republicans did offer a counterproposal to Democrats. It still includes funding for almost all of DHS, with the exception of ICE's immigration enforcement and deportation operations. But this new offer, we're told, also includes some clarifying language, really designed to help ease some Democratic concerns that funding from other parts of DHS could essentially be moved around to fund ICE, which they do not want to fund. So far, though, Democrats being really tight-lipped. They said they're still reviewing this offer. But I will say the lead Republican and Democratic negotiators who've been involved in this process are at least leaving the door open to finding a deal. Just listen.
Can you give us more of a sense of what is in this final offer that was?
No, I'm going to respect my Democratic colleagues in this back and forth right now, but I hope that we put people over politics. That's certainly what I am here to do.
But what do you say to your Republican colleagues who have said you've gotten everything you've asked for, a funding package that strips out ICE and funds everything else already?
Well, again, I don't know if that's exactly what's before us right now. I don't want to get into the details of it, but we got to have let's take a look at what the actual details are, and it's more complex than what's being presented.
And so there is a lot of motivation to get a deal, at least in principle, as soon as possible, not only because, as you mentioned, Kristen, Republicans and Democrats are set to go on a 2-week recess break starting tomorrow, but also because this chaos at airports is really becoming an untenable situation.
Well, Mel, there are reports that the White House is actually considering bypassing Congress and invoking a national emergency to unilaterally fund TSA. What impact could that have on all of this and on the talks?
So this is an idea that is being discussed, we're told. GOP leaders, they aren't necessarily advocating for it or pitching it, but they did convey to Republican lawmakers during a closed-door lunch today that this is something in the mix. Another idea being potentially discussed and floated is this idea of Congress passing a standalone bill to just fund the TSA. That's something Democrats support, and we've also seen an increasing number of Republicans, particularly some of those Republicans who represent states that have some of the airports with the longest lines, like Texas and Louisiana. They are increasingly supporting that idea as well. But the White House says at this point there are no active contingency plans underway, and that the best way to get out of this mess and to fund the TSA ultimately is to reach a deal on DHS funding.
All right, Mel, as you've been talking, we've been looking at live images of the Houston Intercontinental Airport. Thank you so much for that reporting. We appreciate it. Joining me now is the president and CEO of Airlines for America, Chris Sununu. He is also the former governor of New Hampshire. Governor Sununu, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it.
You bet.
So let's start right there.
It's a tough day. Yeah.
Yeah, let's start with the fact that it's a tough day. What we're seeing, the fact that lines are stretched for hours. Hundreds of TSA agents have quit since this shutdown began. Call-out rates have reached past 30% in some places. Governor, I wonder, what is your biggest fear right now, given these shortages?
The biggest fear is that they walk away and don't have a deal. I mean, it's all about getting a deal done. Probably, as Melanie said, the vibe is definitely changing on Capitol Hill. And, you know, one thing I saw in a few of the different tweets, I know Mark Warner was, his tweet had a different, more positive tone. Senator Thune was talking about some wording. When you start talking about wording in a negotiation, that means you're kind of past the big problems and you're just trying to ease people's mind on, and that's usually a pretty good sign. But the clock is really ticking. You know, they want to go on this recess. Thursday is always the day when a lot of these deals really get hashed out. So we're cautiously optimistic over the next few hours. My fear is that if whatever's on the table now doesn't get done in the next 12 hours or so, or by Friday morning, we could be back at square zero. We really could be. And again, it's only the American public that's getting penalized, right? It's the aviation system, where they have nothing to do with really the issues at ICE, and the Republicans have offered to kind of put the ICE funding aside to meet them in the middle. You know, I go back to when I was governor. You always go in wanting X, Y, and Z, but then as you go through negotiations, you keep paring it back until you find a way to meet in the middle, and you have leadership that's transmitting what's happening to their members. So, you know, there's good communication there. The hope is that they're truly, both sides are willing to pare things back. Obviously, you know, removing Secretary Noem, Mark Wayne Mullen coming in, he's going to be a tremendously good Secretary of DHS. We all have a lot of confidence there. And he knows the other side. He knows the senators and the Democrats and the process, and he's worked with them before. So just that relationship, 180-degree positive change, we think maybe is what it took to kind of get things over the line. But look, if there's anything that Congress wants more than passing a bill, it's going on recess. They're like a bunch of kids, you know, they don't want you to take away their recess. So sometimes being up against the clock can really work for you.
We know that ticking clock does wonders for a standstill in negotiations. Let me ask you, though, the travelers, obviously, who we've been talking to, yes, complaining about those long lines, Governor, but broadly speaking, should they actually be concerned about safety as well at our nation's airports?
Well, look, anytime there's pressure on the system, you should be, you know, you have to kind of up your game. TSA actually has to up their game, not kind of put people through faster per se, but just make sure that they're dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and that's why there's long lines. If there was pressure on the system and there weren't long lines, then I'd be really concerned that they were just kind of rushing people through security, but they're not. They take their job very seriously. So no, the system is very safe. People should continue booking and traveling. Obviously, especially if you have a morning flight, you got to give yourself more time. That's where the real push is, because typically mornings, you won't have a pressure on the system at 5 or 6 a.m. But now everyone's showing up at 2 or 3 a.m., even for like a noon or 1 p.m. flight. So everything's being compounded. Even though half the TSA agents are still there, the lines are getting 4, 5, 6 times longer than they really should be, because everyone's piling into that morning rush. But they are, to your question, they are making sure that they bring people through the system appropriately. Here's the good news, is that, A, we have more positive stories in the past 12 hours that they could get a deal. B, there is a long-term solution. I mean, we had this 6 months ago. We have this today. Are we going to see this again in September when we have another appropriations battle going on? That's the big fear that Americans are worrying about. There's a solution today that sits on the doorsteps of Congress that says, aviation workers, whether you're air traffic control or TSA, they're going to get paid in a shutdown. We're not going to hold the American public hostage over our political games. That could pass, and hopefully the pressure of what we're seeing today, the reality, is making everyone in Congress kind of rethink, saying, you know what, I think it's about time that we don't keep going through this, or we can have our political differences and hold something up, but it's the American public that, and the traveling public and the aviation system should not be the big, ones that are put in the penalty box over it.
Yeah, well, let me ask you, because while we're watching all of this play out. We know that the Trump administration has deployed ICE agents to more than a dozen airports. How is that playing out? Do you think that that has been effective? Has it made things more complicated?
No, it actually has been effective. I think a lot of folks were just cautiously optimistic. What's this going to look like? But as has been reported, and you guys have done a great job with it, they're doing a lot of, I don't want to say non-essential, but the jobs that don't require the specialized training, right? So it could be the exiting of passengers, making sure folks get into the right lanes. They do have the ability to just check, that first basic checking of an ID as you enter the lane, things of that nature. And then those TSA agents go to the more specialized locations. So the ICE agents, there haven't really been any issues. They've really been there. We've heard stories of them holding people's place in line while they go to the bathroom and all that kind of stuff because you got to wait in a 4-hour line. So, yes, any manpower you can add to a situation like this is usually going to help. And so far, there really haven't been any issues, nothing but positive things so far. But look, let's hope that we don't put ourselves in this situation again, and hopefully by Monday morning, because there will have to be some votes, right? Even after a deal's cut. The Senate still has to vote. The House still has to get involved. That there are already talks about when and how that would happen. So that could be this weekend or Monday morning. So we're probably really not out of this for at least a few more days. Still could be a pretty tough weekend if you're traveling. But if you give yourself time, there's no reason we won't get you where you need to be.
Well, of course, you just raised the possibility that Congress could pay TSA separately by passing legislation. We know there are reports the Trump administration is proposing to sidestep Congress, directly pay TSA officers. Is that something that you would support?
I think we only want to see that as a real method of last resort. Because
how come?
Now what you're saying is, because now what's the incentive to negotiate, right? What's the incentive to find common ground and work across the aisle? And you're really setting precedent that anytime one side isn't getting what they want, they're going to invoke a national emergency. So that really only has to be in a crisis situation. Hopefully we're moving in a more positive direction and won't have to go down that path, because it sets a bad precedent.
Just finally, Governor, what is your message to travelers? I mean, the wait time at Houston has been 4 hours in some moments. What would you say to travelers who are frustrated, who quite frankly feel let down by the federal government, by Congress?
They have everything. So look, I don't want to be too negative, but I always say fire them all, right? I mean, it's incredibly frustrating dealing with Congress, right? So they should be frustrated. You should be upset, and you should be picking up the phone and weighing in with your representatives, because every one of them has effectively done nothing up until this point to fix the problem, right? Only when we're at the last minute here, only when they get to go on vacation do they finally step up and start moving things. You should absolutely feel frustrated, and the answer is be part of the solution to say, look, when a bill comes across to say we're going to fund TSA and air traffic control agents, regardless of the next shutdown, say yes. Everyone needs to get involved and put pressure on the system. The polls say 90% of America agrees with that. Have you ever heard of something that 90% of Americans agree with, yet on a bipartisan level, yet Congress refuses to do? It's crazy. So you got to provide that pressure to make sure we're not in this situation again. We'll get out of it. It's going to be a little tough for the next few days, but hopefully there's a long-term solution there. And we just got to tell all of our elected leaders, regardless of what party they're from, just say yes. It always feels better to say yes.
All right. Governor Chris Sununu, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate your perspective.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.